Okay, Saxon 4 Math class, we are ready for lesson 86. We're going to be talking more about multiplying multiples of 10 and 100. So let's start with some examples today. Example 1. In the weightlifting room, a group of football players lifted 80 pounds of weights 60 different times. How many pounds of weight did the players lift all together? So we need to look at this problem, 80 times 60, and just look at the digits that are not 0. So let's pretend this is just 8 times 6, and that's 48. Now, since there were 2 zeros in our problem, let's tack on 2 zeros to the end of our answer, and you will get 4,800 pounds. Example 2. A store has 30 ping pong paddles for sale at $7 each. How much money will the store receive if all the paddles are sold? And there are a couple of different ways you could look at this. The easiest way, I think, is to, if I can get my pen to cooperate here, 30 times 7, and think of it like this, just times $7 without the decimal point, okay? Now, if we were dealing with cents, obviously we could not do that. But let's just look at the 3 times 7. That's 21, right? There's 1 0 in the problem. We're going to tack on 1 0 to the end of our answer, and it's $210. Now, if you wanted to do it the other way, 30 times $7. You could still look at the 3 times 7, okay, which is 21. Now, this way, there are 3 zeros in the answer. So if we put in 3 zeros, here's the kicker. You still have to make it look like money. You still need a decimal point and 2 spaces to the right of that decimal point and a dollar sign. Either way, you have the same answer. So whatever way you think is easiest for you. Okay, example 3. 400 times 700. We're just going to look at the 4 times 7. That's 28. But how many zeros are we going to tack to the end? We're going to add 4 zeros to the end. So here we go. Here's the 28 and 1, 2, 3, 4. And it helps if you put in your comma. It makes it easier to read. 280,000. Okay, some more practice. Here we go. I want you to do these in your head mentally and see if you can guess the answer before it appears. 70 times 80. Did you guess 5,600 or 5,600? 40 times 50. 4 times 5 is 20, right? But then you have to add 2 additional zeros to the end. Did you guess 2,000? $240. Myself, I think it's easier if you cover up the decimal point in zeros and just look at 40 times $6 and think 4 times 6, 24, tack on 1 0, and that's your whole dollar amount, $240. Okay, now take a look at this one. Did you tack on 3 zeros to the end, 24,000? Okay, let's go back to lesson 85 and check your work. And again, if you miss one, please find out what you did wrong. Hit pause as you check 1 through 6. Hit pause as you check 7 through 11. Hit pause as you check 12 all the way to 27. And hit pause as you check 28 to 30. Pay special attention to number 30. This is one that I know we will see this type on the end of the year test. Okay, now let's do some mental math. Remember the 5s pattern that we've learned? Okay, of course if it's 5 plus 5, it's going to end in 0, and multiples thereafter will either end in 5 or 0. But if you pick a different starting point, like right here, starting with the 1 plus the 5 or minus the 5, okay, we're going to have different endings. It won't always be just 0 or 5. So here we go. In looking at 41 minus 15, I look at the ones place, okay, and it says 1 minus 5. I'm going to think, though, 11 minus 5, all right, and that would be 6, so I'm going to have a 6 in my ones place. Now, 4 minus 1 is 3, but we're dealing with, we have to take away another set of 10 because I pretended that this was 11, okay, so I've already taken away 11. So our answer is not going to be like 4 minus 1. It's going to be like 4 minus 2. So the answer is 26. Okay, now pretend that this 2 is like a 12. 12 minus 5, that's 7, right? So now you're going to have that 7 in the ones place. And 7 minus 2 is 5, but again, we have to account for that one set of 10 that we've already used. So it's going to be 1 less than 5. It's going to be 47. Okay, now you try this one. Think of this 4 as 14 minus 5. Your ones digit is going to be 9, right? And 8 minus 4 is 4, but you've got to account for that other one, so take one more away. 39. Okay? Now let's look at all the digits that are not 0. Let's look at this as if it were 25 times 3. That's 75. Tack on a 0, 750. Bridget spent $6.54. Then she spent $2.99 more. Altogether, how much did Bridget spend? So we're going to round this $2.99 on up to $3. She didn't really spend 3. She was a penny away from that, but we're going to pretend that. So $6.54 plus 3 whole dollars would be $9.54, right? But we have to take away that penny because she didn't quite spend $3. She was a penny away. So that would be $9.53. Mirabelle's speech lasted 2 minutes 20 seconds. How many seconds is that? Each minute is 60 seconds, and you've got 2 sets of that. So that's 120 seconds, right? Plus 20 more, 140 seconds. Keone, I have no idea how you say that. Keone purchased 2 DVDs for $18.88 each. Estimate the total cost of the DVDs. Okay, I would just round this off to $20. Okay, you could round it to 19, and if you know how to double things really quickly, that would give you an estimate of $38. But let's see if they got the 38 or the 40. They said 38. Okay, so they wanted you to round this off to 19, and then think 19 and 19 is 38. Calculation, here we go. 1/10 of 60. That means divide 60 by 10, and you would get 6 times 4 is 24, divided by 2 is 12, times 5 is 60. Problem solving. Josh will flip a coin 3 times in a row. On each flip, the coin will either land on heads or tails. If the coin were to land heads up each time, the combination of flips would be heads, 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 which can be abbreviated as HHH. Find all the possible combinations of heads and tails Josh can get with 3 coin flips. Okay, well, with the first flip, let's look how they did this. It could have been heads or tails, right? And he flips the coin 3 times on each try. So there is a possibility that he could get heads all 3 times. He could also get tails all 3 times. And then we have all these possibilities in between of what could happen first and second and third. Okay, so take a look at this. We could have heads, heads, tails, heads, tail, heads, or heads, tails, tails. Now from this point on, they're going to reverse it. Tails, heads, heads, tails, heads, tails, which is opposite of this one, or tails, tails, heads, which is opposite of this one. And then you have your all tails, which is opposite of all heads. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different combinations. And we are finished.